Welcome and namaste. It's your boy Glenn Lawrence. I am back with another episode of the Blerd Dad Podcast, a space where we like to have unfiltered conversations and nerd out about parenthood. I'm excited, man. I'm excited about this week. We have a very amazing guest. We're going to be talking about some great things. As you may have noticed, I started out with a little namaste because we're going to be talking about yoga today with our amazing guest, Ms. Chereen Gamal. But first of all, I got to get y'all caught up on what is going on in my wild world of parenting. I'm trying to get fit again. So we did a 5K over the weekend, and let me just tell you, it was great. It was great to get out there and run, to be with other runners, get that runner high, feel that feeling of camaraderie with other people who are trying to go for goals in their fitness. But I will tell you what, don't believe what these pamphlets say. We went out, and this 5K said it was stroller friendly. It was supposed to be a nice stroll with your child, down the path, and you cross the finish line together, and you can do it. It's nice and easy. You can do it with your stroller. Lies. I did it with my stroller, and it was the most treacherous thing I think I've ever done. It was like rocky. It was dangerous. At one point, it was like supposed to be a hurricane or something, and at one point there's signs that says water rises rapidly. I'm like, I'm gonna get caught out here in the middle of this 5K. I'm gonna have this stroller, my child, and my wife, and we're going to get caught in a flood. And then, of course, people are going to turn on the news and be like, how did those idiots get out there? Didn't they know it was supposed to be a storm? You know how we got out there? Because we read the pamphlet, and it said it's stroller friendly, and we went out there and run. I don't know if y'all are understanding what is going on, but I was very, very much confused. They said it was stroller friendly, and it was not. It was super treacherous. There was rocks all over the place. I almost twisted my ankle. It's raining out there. It was very, very unsafe. But I'll tell you what, we got through it. At the end of the day, it was fun. Everybody was really nice and congratulatory. It's amazing how welcoming runners are. So, as much as I dislike running and doing all that type of activity, I really, really enjoyed it. I'm a sprinter. I'm not like a long distance runner, so this sucked for me. I used to skip the long distance runs when I ran track. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest. I hope y'all enjoyed that little stroll, that little jaunt, if you will, down my 5K escapades this weekend. But it was very, very treacherous. I put a story up on IG about it. But the good thing is we had a Bob stroller. If you know anything about strollers, get you a Bob, because a Bob will hold you down. It was able to take on that terrain, no problem. I mean, it almost flipped over a couple of times, but luckily I've got good arm strength, forearm strength, and I was able to hold the stroller in complete what was it called, like control. I didn't let it tip over, and the kid had no idea. He didn't have any idea that he almost fell off a cliff like 3 times on this track, because it's stroller friendly. That he was like, yeah, this is stroller friendly. He was just bopping around, oh, tree. I'm like, yeah, you're about to be in that tree, because this. I wish y'all could have saw the trail. It was crazy. Okay. Anyways, that was my rant for the day. I'm gonna bring it back. Breathe. Namaste. And tell you about our amazing sponsors. Of course, our amazing sponsors this week are, as always, theymademewearit. Theymademewearit. It is a husband and wife team that is working tirelessly to get your pet outfitted in the latest fashion. So whether it is comfy jammies, a party gown, Halloween costume, whatever you need, they got it for your pet. They will get them laced in the hottest fashions of today and yesteryear. If you have like a period piece party that you need to go to and you need to bring your labradoodle, they got it. They can do whatever you want. I think they're even going to start making doggy Jordans, like doggy Jordans. Have you ever heard doggy Jordans? Maybe not Jordans, but doggy, sneakers. They're going to do something amazing. You're going to love it. They do great stuff for these animals. And whenever you use them, you are contributing to Hope for Paws, which is an animal rescue organization that works tirelessly to make sure that these pets and animals get off the mean streets, and they take them away from their life of crime or whatever they're doing, and they really rehabilitate them. It's a great little organization, and you know that your money when you're outfitting your pet goes to Hope for Paws, as well as this beautiful husband and wife team. So check out theymademewearit, code word blerd for 15% off at checkout. Now, that we have gone through that, can we get to our amazing show for today? Are y'all ready for this? We're going to be talking a little bit about yoga with our amazing guest, Miss Chereen Gamal. She's the founder of Oak Tree Counseling and Wellness. Her passion is bringing people together to learn firsthand how to create balance in mind, body, and soul. All areas of our lives are connected, your right brain and your left brain, and it's a healing mission that we are on. And she also wants you to remember that a mighty oak tree grows from little acorns, which I think is beautiful sentiment. And I know that she is a beautiful person. She got me into my journey for yoga. I want y'all to welcome Miss Chereen Gamal. What is going on, Chereen? How are you?
What's up, Glenn? I'm doing well. Doing well. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm super happy to have you on here. Like, you are someone who got me started in my yoga journey. If y'all don't know, the Blerd Dad is a certified yoga instructor. Also trauma informed, so can handle that for you as well. And Chereen Gamal is one of the people who started me on my path, the main person who started me on my path to becoming one with all things yoga. So how are you doing? What's going on?
Good. That's awesome to hear. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. I think, there's kind of a concept of what yoga is and who does it. And I'm glad you shared that because, people always have like in their mind, like with like yogis, like, what is it? It's like,
yeah, right.
Still like in the forest, quietness, or that they look a certain way or they're wearing certain things. So, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely break the mold. Like, first of all, I'm fat. So it's like, wow, that's a big guy doing, handstands and whatnot. I can't do them now because I'm out of practice. But before, when I was in my heyday, I could do the crows, you know what I mean? I could do a little flip up. I got to get back into it. I have been doing like sun salutations in the morning, trying to get back into my little yoga flow thing. But I haven't taught in a while, which I miss. What's your favorite part of teaching?
Oh man, now you're gonna get me geeking out. I love teaching. I think my favorite part of teaching, in terms of what the students get, is you can, I've been doing this for so long now. You can actually just see the energy shift in the room. Like everybody comes in with their day and their, successes and traumas and sorrows and happiness and whatever, or maybe just blah, and you kind of see them really kind of settle in. So that's always my favorite part, is seeing that shift, being the bridge to that shift. Personally, I think teaching as a teacher, when I was like kind of on my own journey to teach, is kind of that shift. I think maybe we all go through, or we're all still working on, but there's like a time, and I don't know, for guys, if they go through this, but, for women, most women can connect with this, but there's a time you walk into a room and, you're like, oh, please, thank you for letting me in this room, like I'm here. And then there's a time, and I think teaching really helped facilitate this for me, was like, I walk in and it's like, no, it's what I'm giving out to the room, not what I'm receiving. Like, I'm here. This is just as much my space as anybody else's, and actually I'm about to tell you what to do.
Yeah, right. It's like that welcoming, you know what I mean, that welcoming feeling that you get from being in there. I mean, I don't know, this is one of the things that I really
not so much welcoming, empowering. I think yoga is very empowering.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree with that, but I feel like when I was doing it, there was like a welcoming nature of this thing, when in some other disciplines, like, if you go out and play basketball or whatever, or, sometimes like, maybe not the fighting gym, but because they're welcoming there. But when you do yoga, there's like just something of like, everyone's kind of like happy to be in this space together, exploring this and being uncomfortable, not really knowing how, to move your body, and then figuring it all out. There's something that's like really cool like that. I will say, like, doing martial arts and whatnot, it's kind of the same thing, because I think there's this thing where you're not going to succeed, but that is the point, to get better and better and better at what you're trying to do. And once you reach a plateau, then there's another plateau to get to, and you're never kind of fully completed, which is, of course, that's why they call it yoga practice, not yoga perfect, right? You know what I mean? Like, you're always trying to do that. But I think there's something with those type of physical what would you call them, physical endeavors that brings people together, that makes a sort of camaraderie that you get with it. And and everybody's in the yoga pants, so everybody's looking great too, you know what I mean, like that also makes things a little bit easier.
Well, I have a few things to say about that. I mean, one, yes, yogis tend to be pretty friendly. That community tends to be pretty friendly. In general, but I mean, that's not across the board. Every community has its thing. But yeah, when people say it's kind of like a cult, it's, most people walk into a class, they have no idea what they're doing. And they're like, why is everybody so friendly? This is weird. What do they want from me? And then they drink the juice and then they all become just the same, where they're like really friendly and,
right.
Something about the practice of yoga just shifts that,
Yeah.
I don't think it's like friendly people necessarily are drawn to yoga. I think that actually doing the yoga somehow makes you friendly. But I think anybody who also, just broader, if you're really into fitness and stuff like that, I mean, I'm sure you've met personal trainers, or you mentioned martial arts, like people that are in the fitness community tend to be more kind of positive leaning and like, you can do it. So they're very kind of lean on that, more inspirational. They believe in change. They believe in shifting. They believe in inspiring people. I mean, you see these, again, people in just fitness world tend to be like that, anything with movement. And so many people also have their own stories of like why it resonates with them, or just feeling healthy in themselves and their body, like how it changed their life, instead of just kind of going through the drudgery of life. Like,
well, here, I'll tell you this. When we had the kid, because we talk about parenting here, one of the things that did help out very much was doing yoga for the babies. Like, I got a book that's like Yoga for Children, I believe. I forget what it's called exactly, but it was yoga for kids. And there's all these poses that you can do starting from the time that they're infants. Yoga Baby, I believe it's called. And I did those. With the little guy, I did those with Morgan, and I was basically manipulating his body, moving his body so that he can be in these various poses, or doing poses with him. And it was really, really useful in terms of getting him to calm down from when he was a baby. Now, he's not super calm now, so I need to probably finish the book, because I got through, I got through the infant pages, and now I feel like I need to pick up the toddler pages, because he's being wild. But I was very much surprised how useful and how much it worked doing yoga for your infant or your young child. That was really, really cool.
So a lot of people, like adults, like they'll come into class and then, something like a pose like happy baby, or a different pose, they'll be like, oh my goodness, my baby or my grandchild actually does this, and then they become very surprised. But to me, it's not surprising at all. That's the very first thing we do, is like we move. Right? So, I mean, if you're not moving, there's a problem, right? But as a baby, that's your whole thing, is like exploration, your body. You're only in your body. You can't communicate, right? You can't tell your parents what you want. You can't whatever. All you could do is just move. And so I think movement is the most natural thing, like in our body, as we're born, like you said, even with Morgan, right? So when you put them into these poses, there's so much more. It's not like a cute thing of like my kids following me. It's actually like you're following them, because that's what they do. They move there, but they get into down dog. They get into happy baby. That's actually how they naturally want to be. We actually just forget that, like once we get older. So the movements really resonate with kids, and they love doing it, and they get real creative with it. Yeah.
And it's like their natural inclination is to do some of these poses, like child pose. It's funny now that I'm seeing him grow up. I see him just naturally get into this pose, and I'm like, I didn't teach him that. I'm like, oh, that's why they call it child's pose. Like they, you know what I mean? They just naturally like do that movement, or like happy baby or something, where the legs are up, and it's just, they just naturally do these movements. It's like, oh, that's why you would name it, happy baby, or child's pose, or any of the different poses that are take after babies' names. It's interesting to just see that they naturally gravitate towards being in that state. And it is also interesting seeing him do the like down dog, and just how he naturally gets into these poses that I didn't show him. And I'm actually really, really interested in getting into the toddler motions, because now he's a little bit older, so now he actually can move his body and has like some agency to move in certain ways. And I want to do it. As a matter of fact, we have these little mats that they're like puzzle pieces where they link yoga poses, but it's like a little puzzle that you put on the ground. It's like a foam thing, and he loves playing with it. He doesn't do the poses yet, but he does like put them down, and sometimes he'll kind of look at like the arms outstretched. He'll be like, oh, and he'll kind of like test it out. But I'm very excited to start putting him in these poses and like getting his body moving.
Yeah. Because you said, oh, he doesn't always get calm, but I think that's not the goal, right? So it's not the goal for kids.
It is for me. It is for me. Like I would
to make him calm or to make yourself calm.
Both, to make him calm so that I can calm down, and then the wife can be calmed down, and we can all chill out.
Yeah, for them at that point, it's really just exploration, like their body, like what can this do? Like where can it go? Like how does it move? And it's just so natural to them to get into it. But I wouldn't say, at the age that, now you said he's a toddler, but prior to that, I don't think the goal is really ever to get them to calm down, because that's just not.
Listen, I'm telling you, the goal is always to get them to calm down. Whatever. You're just like, can you do it calmer? Some people are fortunate to have babies that are very, very chill. My dude is like me. He is hyper. He's got energy, and from the moment he wakes up, he just wants to use his voice, as we say. We don't call it screaming or being loud. He's using his voice. Yeah. But I think marrying voice to motion, I think would be super, super important in this case. But here's another thing that was very cool about yoga is I didn't realize until we went through the pregnancy how useful it is for mothers going through it, birthing, in terms of how to move their body, how to get more comfortable while you're birthing, the breathing through labor, which is, incredibly important. Pranayama, you know what I mean? Getting that breath together. I was very excited to be able to show this to Steph while we were doing it. And I was very surprised at how useful it was and how it was intrinsic into getting her into a comfortable state to push the baby through. And once she did it, it was like it made it so much easier, for her to give birth. Yes, the breathing part of it. Yeah. And then like kind of the poses, just getting into different poses and being able to, to move. She wasn't doing like Warrior One or anything and then popping the baby out, but child's poses, squats, those type of things definitely helped her, I think, bring the baby forth, bring it out, I don't know what you would birth it, pop it out, whatever the term is. It helped her do that. It helped her pass the baby. I think you pass like a kidney stone. You don't pass the baby, but whatever the term is.
Let's not go with pass the baby. Yeah. Yeah. Well, as a woman, your body's going through these massive changes. You're carrying a whole nother life, right? So I think aside from the calming properties, or you're saying getting her into those poses, it's really also a matter of her getting in touch with her own body, because it's kind of like, it's almost like not your own at this point, right? Everybody that sees you is like, oh my God, you're pregnant. Nobody's asking about her anymore. Nobody's like, whatever. So I think doing these connects her to her own body, like her own sense of self, and also, the baby growing inside. And then of course, breathing, I think breathing regulates everything, right? That's, I know I'm alive because I'm breathing, right? So once you get into all these different breathing techniques, there's so much that you can do with that,
Yeah, it was incredibly helpful. And the breathing part, especially because it calms things down, it regulates things. And, I just think it made the labor so much more smooth. So do you see a lot of prenatal patients or prenatal students come in trying to learn?
My specialty, I don't. When I worked at a yoga studio, we had a lot of hot classes, and we don't usually recommend them for women that are pregnant. You can go. It's not going to make or break you, but it depends on where you're at, how many weeks pregnant you're at and so on, and which baby it is, like first, second, third. So yeah, didn't see too many women pregnant there because it was hot yoga. And then I also teach a lot at retreats and stuff. And so, at retreats, the retreats I host, most people pregnant usually don't come. And then I also teach at a hospital, psychiatric hospital. So we don't have pregnant patients there. Most are taken to a different hospital.
But you have a lot of kids that you deal with, right? In terms of
I have units that are all just kids.
Yeah. How is that? Because that's our next stage, right? We're going through the toddler stage, and then we're going to have, I guess, the adolescent and the teen stage. How do you see their bodies react and them react to yoga?
Yeah. I love the kids unit. It's actually one of my favorites. It's actually my last unit of the day because I see all the different units. And so many times I kind of am tired sometimes throughout the day and I almost want to leave, or if I'm not having a good day or I'm sick, but I'm like, no, man, I got to see the kids. So the kids unit is my favorite. They respond to yoga so well. They love it. They get so excited. They just ask every day, like, when is she coming? Is the yoga teacher here? When can we do, again, kids just really respond to movement. They really do. Now it is a psychiatric hospital, so it's inpatient. So some of the kids do suffer from clinical depression or maybe some suicide attempts. And you can actually see that in their bodies. Like those are the ones that don't want to move, it's inherent in that disease within depression. And so those are the ones that just don't want to move. They don't feel comfortable like moving. They're kind of, can I watch from the side, or I don't want to participate today, but naturally the kids' inclination in general is to really want to do the yoga. And it's a lot of fun to do it with them because they're not as uptight as adults in the sense of like, they're just less self-conscious. So they're willing to just kind of do it,
Yeah. You get all this like compounded trauma and baggage and everything that from adults that makes them kind of apprehensive about trying something new, where kids don't have that thing. But I've noticed just in the children, not the children that I've been around, because I'm not around children much except for my own, but like cousins or other people, you notice that the kids nowadays are a little bit more depressed than I think even we were when we were children, when we were younger. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's a big thing now. Like they're all sad, kind of. There's like, oh, woe is me, the world is terrible or whatever. But I do think adding more of this type of thing, yoga, movement, breath, adding that into their lives, I think will kind of like expand things and make things a little bit brighter for that person who feels like everything is so gray and dim. I mean, I feel like it should be part of like teaching, the like in schools and whatnot. There should be movement classes.
Actually, part of a lot of schools' curriculum now.
Yeah, and I've noticed that they're putting in meditation classes and yoga classes, and I feel like it really does help because sometimes we forget in this society, especially, everything has gotten so brainified, I guess, if that's a word. That's a word that dumb people use for, everything is getting so like book smart, where everyone has to be smart, go to class, just do, the reading or the arithmetic, or I said arithmetic like I'm 100 years old, do the math or, whatever.
And then
we forgot about movement. Yeah,
nobody says arithmetic. Okay.
No one says arithmetic anymore. I don't know why I keep saying that, but you got to move your body. They took PE out of the classes, out of the classroom, and now they're trying to bring it back in because they're like, oh yeah, that is a part of being a human. That is a part of growing up. We have to have like physical exercise and remember to move the body. And I definitely love the fact that we're adding this new discipline that isn't necessarily inherent to America, yoga, and making that part of what we're teaching kids, because it really does help getting those bodies movement and getting them getting their breath connected to their movement and all that.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I hear you. The kids are a little bit more depressed these days, but I don't know if they are, or if they just you talk about it more and you see them.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
kids have always been depressed. It's possible we were depressed, You
think no? I think we were
much before was depressed. I think they've all been depressed. I think it manifests in different ways,
No way. I feel like our generation was out living life, getting it.
Were
You
they
know what I
really?
mean? Like,
No, we
yeah,
were home watching like The Price is Right.
no, not at all. I
Yeah,
was out in the streets.
that's why we were all sad when he just died. Like,
I
we
mean, we do
would
remember
stay
that.
home from school and we would watch The Price is Right.
But maybe you, but I mean, we would watch The Price is Right with, like grandma or, ma, but for the most part, we were out in the street doing things. So we didn't really have time to be sad. We were running around until the street lights came on. So, there was no there wasn't as much of it. And I feel like nowadays, and I think it has to do with the movement because kids are at home watching TV, watching their iPad, and they're not moving. They're just watching life happen. And then almost forgetting that, oh, like I can move, you see life happening around you. You see it in this iPad or whatever, and then you're not moving. I feel like that inherently makes you a little bit sadder.
Yeah.
And then once you get
our
out,
kids
start moving,
less.
you're
Yeah, they're
fine.
moving less.
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
But are they generally? I mean, there's obviously no real stats, no way to take that across the board. But are they more depressed now than before? I'm not sure. The pandemic definitely affected kids' mental health. But
yeah. Certainly. I mean, I feel like if they could have instituted some of those classes during the pandemic when because everybody's stuck at home trying to figure out what to do. And it's like, do this here, do these movements. That'll help. That takes, care of your physical requirement. And it's fun for the parents to do as well. I don't know. I just think it's a very important thing to get kids into something so useful in all aspects of life. It brings all things together.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you put kids in anything movement related and you kind of force them to do it, even if they don't want to get up and do it, like you said, like they're sitting there watching their iPad, I think that's always going to be more helpful. And then of course with yoga, because there's, it's not just movement. Like the kids I work with, they'll actually just say things during class. So they're, in a class with adults, they may feel calmer after the class. But the kids, they'll say it during class, like, Miss, I feel uncomfortable here. Like, Miss, I feel calm in this pose. Or, they'll kind of like voice it out, like making that brain body connection. Or, my favorite, it's like, Miss, I feel like I need to fart here, they just, they keep going with it in class. So they're not, they don't have as much self-consciousness as like, as adults and stuff. And the adults are feeling all the same things. And I've had many adults fart in class as well. And, you're moving your body in different shapes and whatnot. It happens.
Did they announce it first when they had to, did they announce it?
But the kids do. Or one kid will like let one go and then the other ones won't let it go. They're like, oh my God, who farted? And then I have to get into like class management because like they won't stop at that point,
funny.
I'm like, all right. It happens. It's human. Let's just open the door. Let's just keep it going.
Do you see a difference when kids are all together versus when like a kid does a class with adults?
Oh yeah. Oh. Not all kids, depends on their personality, but so many kids have a little bit of the peacockiness in them, right? They want you to see them, right? As the adults, your attention is the most important thing in that room, right? So, when they're with a bunch of other kids, they want to do things to get your attention, or your approval or your whatever, right? And then if it's, with other adults, it's a little bit different, they're kind of a little more regulated.
Yeah, they kind of like hold back a little bit.
Yeah, they hold back a little bit.
Yeah.
I generally have a pretty flexible style, leadership style in general. So with the kids, I always allow for a space of like, okay, like here's what we're going to do today. Like I have a thing, but then I'm like, you guys want to do something else today? Or, just kind of based on how they are. And, I think when you allow kids to do that in a structured kind of way, you feel their energies jumping off each other. Like, oh my God, let's do this and let's do that. And how about we move like this, Yeah.
Right. Do you see a difference in like boys and girls when you're doing the instruction? Like, our boys more like, yeah, like, let's, let me try something new? Or is it like they hold back because there are girls in the room? Or how is the like breakdown between I guess like the boys and girls sexes, I guess?
It's a good question. Do I see a difference? I would say generally no. I think if they're all into it, they're all into it. What I do see, depending on that age of kid, is like if they're like 8 and under, 9 and under, 10 and under, they'll just kind of do it. If you start getting a little bit above that, if their peers are doing it, they'll do it. But if their peers are not doing it, then they don't want to do it. They don't want to like warrior and get into it because, it's puberty. It's that age you start to really care about, what other people are thinking and doing. And it's just downhill from there. You just, yeah. But the kids and the teeny ones, I see teen ones as well and adolescents, like you got to have that one that's like in it and like, I love this and like, this is cool. And then they're all in it and I love it. And this is
you get like the leader of the pack kind of type
but
thing.
If you get the ones that are kind of like, I don't want to do this, and they're a little bit more whatever, then they start looking to each other for like, should I be doing down dog, or is that weird?
Yeah.
Or is this fun?
Right. It's kind of wild how kids are like pack animals. It's, you know what I mean? Like they fall into hierarchies. They start following each other. And if there's one who's super like, oh, excited and happy about things, and they're the one that other people want to follow, they're like, oh, cool. And then everyone gets that way. And vice versa. If there's a kid who's like, I'm like the cool kid who doesn't want to do anything that everyone else is trying to be, I'm cool like them. I don't care either. And I feel like breaking them out of that early stages, I feel like gets them into more.
But that's a bigger determinant of the group than the male or female. They both respond the same, but it doesn't matter if they're boys or girls. It just matters like what, again, if they're like over 10, maybe over 9, Yeah, 9 is kind of when that starts to happen. Then they will or won't do it. If they're below that, they don't care. Like that's what I kind of love about the kids because, some of them just come in and they're just, I like dinosaurs and they don't care. Like they want to make every pose into a dinosaur. They want to keep talking about dinosaurs. That's who they are. But if they get above 9 or 10, everybody's like, oh, dinosaurs are lame, or that's, then they start to kind of pull back a little bit.
It's interesting. I don't know how they decide who gets the cool juice. You know what I mean? Like that kid who's coming in talking about dinosaurs. What's to say he's not the coolest versus some other kid, right?
Because I think he's the coolest person. Right. That's the thing. I love it when I get kids like that. They're the best. Like, Miss, can we do a pose like this where it looks like T-Rex, and then maybe we could do a plank with their arms down. Like they're really creative, those kids, Yeah,
but then all the kids are like, ugh, gross. They don't like. It's like they just somehow intrinsically they just know not to follow that kid. And I'm just wondering, like, how come the kids aren't like, yeah, Connor likes T-Rexes, so do I. Like, how do they decide that this is the kid that is the out? Like, we're gonna not follow him.
Yeah, there's actually research done on it. The movie Mean Girls was actually based on like an analytical theory, like a psych test done like with PhDs on like regressional analysis and how people interact. And so that idea, if you remember that movie of like, she lived in Africa and she's making a relation between the way the animals operated and then how the school is operating. Right. That was actually based on real research, right? So yeah, people do break up into these kind of leader, follower, strength, weakness kind of thing. And yeah, it's not always based on necessarily something specific, but what I have noticed is if it's the girl leader, and this is really stereotypical, but it's just what I see, they're more like, just like, they don't like anything.
Like, I get that.
And the more they don't like anything, the more people want to like fill that vacuum and please them, right?
Yeah.
Now, essentially, I am at a psychiatric hospital. The I don't like anything could totally be based on trauma, depression, abuse, dysfunctional family, right? But in how it presents to their peers, it's just like, I want to try to then please you, right?
Yeah.
And then these women, they get older, and then they get a bunch of guys trying to do the same thing with them, and then they just function through whole life, right? So, but yeah, and then with guys, it really depends. Sometimes actually with guys, it could be that guy that's like the team player. He becomes the leader. The quiet guy is not usually the leader with guys.
Yeah. Also, the guy who's really into dinosaurs is usually not the leader either. But have you done this long enough to where you have seen someone go from like the adolescent stages, the young teen stages into adulthood?
Yeah.
What is that like? What does that change like?
Unit. I was with her through adolescent unit, and then one day I was up on adult unit, and then I saw her, and then and she looked at me and she's like, yeah, I turned 18, So she definitely is what we'd refer to as she's been kind of institutionalized, and there's more to say on that, but she was severe. She did have severe psychiatric issues that did warrant continued, admission to the hospital. But some people, what happens is they get institutionalized in the sense of like the hospital people and staff become their people and their family, right? Like they kind of want to come back almost like, not everybody that comes back, but just say her specifically, because I saw her from kids to adolescents to adult continue to, come. And again, she needed it. She's severe, but, without getting too into the nature of what her kind of psychiatric issues were. But with that said, she kind of, it was clear to all of us that she felt really comfortable there.
Yeah. That's wild that someone could have, such a traumatic life experience and then find comfort in something like doing yoga, that hour a day that they give themselves, to be free, to let their body move or whatever before like the chaos kind of, comes in again. It's like really, I don't know. I feel like that's really, special when you get to see this person and, everything around their life is kind of swirling, and then they see you and it's like, hey, what's up? Like you're my light, you know what I mean? You're my light that is my entry into like happiness. Like I know it exists because you are there to help me, and hopefully it'll guide me through this time and I'll be able to find it later in life. Or at least that's how I don't know, maybe I'm looking at it super optimistically.
No, for me, definitely a huge emotional reward there. If I'm talking about the hospital specifically, we have key cards and whatever to get around. And I have a cart that has like all the yoga mats, and when they see me come in with the key card and pushing the cart, they get like they feel like their light just came in, and they're like, oh my God, it's yoga time. And then they start, following me with my cart. Like I'm like the ice cream man, and like about to give them like, a little dose of endorphins, but yeah. And then if it's just general population, like, me and you, or at the yoga studio or teaching there, doing retreats, like, yeah, people are really looking forward to it. It's their 1 hour a day to just really decompress, get grounded, connect with themselves. Some people in life are so traumatized that they don't even have that. And those few moments to really connect with yourself is really powerful. Yeah. There's a really popular book I definitely recommend. It's called Wherever You Go, There You Are. So you're going to go through life. You're going to have different factors. You're going to maybe like dinosaurs, then you're going to hate them. Then you're going to this, you're going to have your buddies who are your best buddies in junior high and high school, whatever, this and that. You're going to go through life. You're going to have different relationships, different, whatever, interchangeable with parents, with siblings, with this, with that, with work, with colleagues. You're going to get betrayed, you know, but you are always going to be there. Right. And that's the most important relationship. And so yoga really develops that, which is why I think it's so powerful. Right.
Yeah. I mean, and it's great. You are a light bringer. You bring light to so many people, and you're helping them. People who haven't had, you know, I mean, you're going from extreme problems to people who, you know, think their latte was a little bit cold is an extreme problem. But to all of those people,
I mean, listen, I saw a meme that said that life is too short to have bad coffee. I got the cheap K-cups the other day. Right? Really, life is too short to have bad coffee. This stuff's terrible. It's really terrible. Don't get the cheap K-cups.
That's awesome. That is the human experience. Like it all seems bad, you know what I mean? And in your mind, sometimes it's hard to differentiate between like this is the most horrible thing to happen versus wow, this is really the most horrible thing to happen. But it is awesome having someone like you, like, you know, the yogis that are out there and the people that are out there that are teaching and instructing in this thing to help people get through and realize you know what is important. The fact that you can move, the fact that you can breathe is oftentimes the most beautiful thing and the most important thing, you know, kind of in this world. I don't know. So shout out to you for being a light bringer.
Thank you. Yeah, I you know, I'm writing a book now about using yoga with trauma. And I think, you know, I talk about my own experience with trauma and then how much of that really just gets embedded in the body at a cellular level. But really, I think what happens with that is you get stuck, right? So you're stuck in this thing. And I think that yoga really helps bring that. Like, yeah.
Well, you know, when things get stuck in your body or things get stuck anywhere, what do you have to do to get them unstuck? You have to move, you know, you have to breathe.
You know, people like really clear answers. And unfortunately with humanity, we're all just really complex and there's no hard answer on this because there's a lot of like motivational speakers and people that post and they talk about like, just do it. You just got to do it. You just got to get up and do it. And whatever that is. Right. There's truth to that. Right. But the thing is like, say if somebody's feeling stuck or if somebody's feeling anxious or depressed or they've gone through something or really bad breakup or they got fired or job, whatever, all the different things that can happen in life. You can't, like, you don't want to move. Like you can't. So, and then you see these things and then you feel bad. And then it adds to this thing of like, just sitting there, right. And not doing anything. And the next day passes and the next day passes and the next day passes. And then you see these things like, just get up and take a walk, just get up and just do it. You know, there is truth to that though. Right. So I'm saying it's not a singular answer, but you do have to actually just get up. So you're saying, how do you do it? You actually do, because that's physics, right? Like, things in motion stay in motion and things that are not in motion, it's a lot harder to get up and move, right?
That is true.
So how do you do it? You do have to just get up and do it. But on the other hand, I know how condescending that can sound at times and like obnoxious when you're in that stuck place. I've been in that stuck place and I'm like, no.
Yeah. But I mean that is the way that you have that you get unstuck. You have to move, and that's what a lot of what yoga is. It's moving the breath around in your body. It's moving your body parts into poses, and it's that movement that can really help alleviate some of that stress that you're having and some of that stuff that you're talking about in terms of like trauma getting stuck in the body or getting your body, you know, in this place, in this depressive place, which, and oftentimes, like you said, whenever that happens, what do you do? You like kind of just you stay there, you know, you want to like lay under the covers, not moving, right? And by moving is how you all of a sudden are able to relieve those things. I feel like that's the biggest kind of message of, you know, this all is like, you gotta get moving, whether it's through your breath, moving through your body, or your body actually moving itself you got to get moving sometimes to relieve some of the strain and traumas in your life. Yeah. So one way to get moving, I know that you have a retreat that is coming up pretty soon. Talk a little bit about that, like taking the yoga on the road and taking it to different places and having people practice in different areas.
Yeah. The retreats are, I would say humbly, the retreats are where I shine, right? So I definitely develop them and curate them in a way where something just really shifts. Like, it's really, I love it, but yeah, I have like a lot of retreat, destination-based retreats. I have one coming up in Costa Rica, end of October. I have one in West Virginia for New Year's. I got Egypt coming up for 2024. So yeah, and we combined really essentially, like I usually develop an itinerary where we're doing a lot of really, I would say the crux of my company, without getting too into it, is really how do we combine spirituality with, mental health development, right? So it ends up being like personal growth, spirituality, yoga. We do deep breathing. We do breath work, pranayama. We do journaling,
Yeah. There it is right there. The Costa Rica retreat. Are you ready for a reset?
Yes. So this is also specifically this one designed at this time of year because so many people are so affected by seasonal depression, and it gets dark by like 4:55. You don't want to get up and go to the gym. You don't want to go do yoga. You don't want to sit and breathe, right? You just the trees are getting bare, like just feels a little hollow, and Costa Rica is so rich with like the jungle and like sloths and birds and dolphins, and so yeah, taking it on the road. We do yoga together. There's something so what is the proverb? You want to go fast, you go alone. You want to go far, you go together. Something really powerful about getting a whole bunch of people there, all for the same intention, doing yoga together and moving together, and doing the yoga in different locations. Your scenery has changed. I worked at a yoga studio for years, and I could tell you I had regular students every time, same place in the room, same setup with the mat, same setup with it. We're creatures of habit in general. So taking your practice on the road, it's just really different. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And the fact that you're in a different place with a bunch of people who are not from that place as well, there's like a camaraderie that comes from that, from all being from somewhere else, and then meeting in this, one place that's foreign to everyone, and then going through something that is challenging for your mind, body and spirit. And then, there's a camaraderie that I think is shared there too. It looks really, really fun. I wish we could go on this. Like I want to go. I'm going to try to make it to one of these retreats. Costa Rica looks amazing, but you also have New Year's?
New Year's might be a little bit easier because it's a 3-day retreat versus like 7, 6 or 7. And then Egypt, of course, is going to be longer. I mean, you're crossing half the world to get there. So that one's a little bit longer too. But the West Virginia ones, a lot of the local ones, that one's 3 days. So that one you and Steph might be able to.
Yeah. Look at this. You're internationally renowned. You are an internationally renowned yogi.
I'm a global citizen. Yeah.
You're a global citizen going all around, sharing the good word, bringing the light to, all these different places. That is pretty solid.
Wherever you go, there you are. I mean, you're always going to take yourself, no matter where you are, no matter who's around you, I spoke to somebody today who's gone through a lot of life transition with empty nesting, and I mean, as a parent, I know your podcast is dedicated to parenthood, and he's just getting into toddlerhood. But imagine your whole life is just focused on this person, or if you have more of these people, and then it's like, see ya.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do with your identity? Like
it's almost like a
that's
breakup.
the thing. Everywhere you go, there you are. It's you. all the time.
Yeah. But it's almost like a breakup. Like you're with this person in like a really long relationship, and then boom, they're gone, and you got to figure out, all right, how do I navigate in the world? And in relationships, a lot of time you kind of lose yourself to that relationship, right? Like you reinvent yourself in relation to this other person, and then when you
They
break
like
up.
dinosaurs. You like dinosaurs, right?
Exactly. It's just like, oh yeah, T-Rex, pterodactyls, I'm all for it. And then when you break up, you have to reinvent yourself and figure out, oh wow, do I really like dinosaurs, or was I just into it because this other person was really, really into it? And with kids, it's kind of the same thing. I'm watching Blippi all the time, and I'm like, and I'm singing along to the songs, and then when I'm an empty nester, am I going to be like, did I ever even like Blippi? Did I even really
Well, do you
want it?
like it?
Listen, because he watches it so much, I feel like I end up liking it. I feel like I end up enjoying it. And I'm like, oh, I'm singing the, excavator song. You know what I mean? I'm an
I mean, some of them are really good. My nephew is 5, and he got on this like obsessive streak with Sing, the movie.
Oh my goodness!
What a good movie!
What a great
movie!
Sequel. There's multiple.
Every time Sing 2, he was really obsessed with watching Sing 2 like a month ago. Every time it was his turn for the remote, he's good, he's going straight back to it. I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna watch this movie again. It's not even like a series of like, he likes, Palu or whatever that annoying guy was. But he wants to watch this movie over. But it was a good movie. I could genuinely have watched it with him 3 times. And then after that, it's like, okay, passively, but I could still be like, this is good. This is
right. Like, what's crazy about Sing? He watched it on repeat for probably a good 3 to 4 months.
Which one?
Sing 2.
Sing 2, yeah.
Yeah, and well, Sing 1 is what he started on, so that was 3 months.
That was that was his initial hit.
Yeah. So Sing 1 was at least 3 to 4 months, and then Sing 2 has been like 6 to 8 months. Oh, I will tell you this. Be careful about letting them watch Mario, because Mario is everything right now. Mario is the world. He dreams Mario. He's in his dream. His energy is like, oh no, Mario, while he's like sleeping, or he'll be like, oh no, Bowser. Like while he's sleeping. I was like, what did they put in this movie that they're so attached? Has your nephew seen Mario?
He's not into Mario. No, the little one.
Has he seen it though? Have they seen it?
I haven't. No, because I would know it if they've seen it.
Watch I'm telling you, watch this movie. I don't know if it's the colors or what, but because I've talked to multiple parents and they are smitten with Mario, and it took the place of all these other movies that they used to watch on repeat all the time. Another good one, if you like music.
The older one has been for years, since he was like 3, so maybe a good 6-7 years now. The Minecraft. I don't know if Morgan's into that yet. But
no, well, see, he's not at the stage yet where he can manipulate. So he can watch something, but he's not at the stage understanding that, I can make things change on the screen. Like I can do a thing, but like he's not on that stage yet.
It's watching other people on YouTube play.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's not him. It's not him playing. It's him watching other people, and he's been obsessed with the older one. He's 9.
That is so interesting.
He's been doing that since he was 3, and he could just watch that forever. And he's not playing it; he's watching somebody else play it and commentary. Like there's other younger kind of teens and teenagers commenting, and yeah.
You know what I think I want to do? I want to start him on the path of doing versus watching. So if there's a Minecraft, like, hey, why don't we make a Minecraft channel where you play it, where you're the one talking? You want to do that, buddy? Because I don't think I could take him being a passive person and just watching life as it happens, as opposed to like making life happen.
Well, he sounds too energetic for that.
He does. He does. And I think deep down it would it would dampen his spirit to just be a watcher as opposed to a doer. So I feel like I definitely need to make sure that he is doing versus watching. Another good movie for your nephew, Vivo. It's on Netflix. but it's like about a little Kikachu, which is kind of like a little monkey thing that sings, and it's like from Cuba, and he's like singing like all the little cute. It's like Lin-Manuel. I don't know if you've seen Hamilton, but it's like Lin-Manuel Miranda, does the music. So it's like very, very catchy and very, very fun. It's got like a very Latino spirit, like a Latin spirit in terms of like the music. Yeah. Yes, and Rio even more, but for some reason he wasn't really into Rio, but he was definitely into Vivo like a lot. And so he was so between those movies, those have carried him till he's 2 now. So between Sing 1, and Sing 2, and then Vivo, and then Super Mario, that's like what 4 or 5 movies that have been his life. So about 6 months a piece, those movies have been on rotation. So so that brings us to the part of the podcast where we usually like to ask our guests the blerding question, which is, what do you nerd out about? Like if someone cornered you, Miss Chereen Gamal, and was like, oh, what are you really into? I love dinosaurs. What do you love? What would you say? What do you nerd out about?
I have so many things I nerd out about. I mean, obviously yoga, talking about yoga, all the different types of yoga. But if you want like a more quirky thing, because obviously, I can actually really nerd out about pens.
What? Really?
Yeah.
This is not a thing that I knew. Are you serious?
So,
really?
Yeah, I'm serious. So it's a weird thing. Like people that get it, and people that don't. But like, if you're ever at like a Staples, or I don't even know if they still have them around anymore. So many of them shut down. But if you go to the pen section, you'll see people like have written on everything with pens. And those are my people, because you gotta feel the pen. You gotta write. You gotta see that smoothness. Like, is it small? The tip, is it like not? Like how is it writing? And then they have these like hundreds and thousands of dollar pens for people like me. There's something about a really good pen that's like so exciting. And really some pens, when I'm like signing a check at a restaurant, I'm like, oh my God, I love this. And I steal it. Or I ask, hey, can I have this pen?
Yeah,
this is a really good pen. Yeah. My favorite.
It's not very yogi of you to.
I know. I'll ask a lot of times. I'm like,
you should trade the pen. Give them a pen back. Like, I know this pen.
One of my favorites was at like a Four Seasons once. It was like the best pen ever, and it's just really I feel like I write different. I think different. It's just, there's something really exciting about like a good pen.
I wish I had it in front.
I can geek out about this. Like a good pen is brilliant.
Listen, I wish I had it in front of me, because I have I got from this company, I got 2 different pens. One is, it's like a titanium. Oh, actually it's right here. No, wait, that's not it. It's like a titanium pen that is like very it's just very tactile. It feels very, very good. But the point was like too fine. And I really liked writing with it, but the point is too fine. And there's something about the lift up. When you write and then you lift up, if it leaves a trail, it can ruin your like writing, like it ruins the feel of it. And there's something about when you lift the pen and it stops inking that is very fulfilling and makes it a lot more inviting to write. So I got this one pen.
Where did you get them from?
It's this company called Big Design, I believe is the name of the. Hold on, let me see if I can find them. But they're called like Big Design.
I order promotional pens for my company for Oak Street Counseling and Wellness. And I'll include them in different promotional stuff or gift bags or whatnot. And I use them myself. And sometimes, because, you order these bulk things and you get like 400 or 500 pens at one time. And every once in a while, there's like a pen that doesn't work. And I feel like personally insulted. Like, this is my company and the pens I got. Like, I need you to check all 500 pens. Like, they need to be good, man.
That's going to be the thing. That's going to be your thing, that you're like, hey, I need y'all to check all the pens and make sure they write. But this is the company that I got it from. It's called Big Idea.
Look at the grip on that one.
Yeah, Big Idea Design. Look at, it's got the little grip here. That's really, really awesome.
No, that's not
titanium. And I'll tell you, the click is just so smooth. When you click it, it feels like butter in your hands. It's amazing. It glides on the paper. It's so there's something so.
Wait, what is it again? Big what?
It's called Big Design. Or Biggie Design. Big Eye Design.
Okay.
Big Eye Design. And I think the I is for idea. But yeah, they have this pen, which is really, really also. They also have a pencil all of a sudden. Look at these cool little pencils. Like that's kind of awesome, the bolt action pencil. So yeah, I got the slim, and then there's the fountain. They have the fountain pen.
Fountain pens are tough, man. They're beautiful. Like they appeal to that aesthetic in me. And that kind of old school, like I'm going to put on a fedora and finish my book in it. But it's tough because of the way they bleed in, and you got to have a certain like hold in it.
Did you say I'm going to put on a fedora? I'm like,
you think you're going to go to like a log cabin. Like I have my book now that I'm doing, the trauma-informed yoga. And I'm almost pretty much done, but it's also digital, right? And a part of me like, wants to go to a log cabin, like hold that pen, put on a fedora. I don't smoke cigars, but I'm just gonna just be a writer. Like
look, and all these pens except normal refills, you can put them in there and
look
stuff.
At that.
But
look, they put the video of somebody twisting it up. That is awesome.
Yeah, look at this. And so these are all the different pens that they have, and I have multiples of these pens. You know what I mean? So they're solid. This little pen is cool. The slim bolt action pen, the dual-sided click pen is kind of cool.
Slim bolt action.
Yeah, there we look at all these. See, look, the thing that I love about this podcast is I ask people about, what do you like to nerd out about? And 9 times out of 10, I'm like, ooh, I nerd out about that too. Like I'm in on that too. I'm all about it,
Yeah, I had no idea you liked pens. Yeah.
I do. Look at these are $100 pens, dude. I have this one. This right here.
What's funny is my last retreat was in Mexico, and the theme of that one was your peace, your power, and your purpose. And when we were talking about peace and kind of contemplating that idea, people were like, I was like, write down the things that bring you peace. And, so many of the attendees kind of struggled. Like, I don't know what brings me peace, And I was like, well, I guess that's why we're kind of exploring it. But then they said, can you just please give us an example? Like, no, I don't want to influence you. This is your, free thought journal time. And they were like, yeah, but just an example. And I was like, all right, well, I like pens. If I have a good pen and I'm writing in like a really pretty kind of journal on it, whatever, I was like, that brings me a sense of peace. Like I actually like that whole thing. And they were like, oh, pens, So yeah. Yeah,
that is cool. That is something that I did not know, and is really, really awesome that you like these pens, because that's also, if you think about it like this, right? In your brain, you have an idea, and then it flows from your brain into like your mind, body, and spirit, and then it flows out of your hand, and the release point is the ink of the pen onto that paper, and that's how the idea gets conveyed to other people. It's like,
which is why I always include journaling in my retreats, and even with my therapy clients, I include journaling, because I'm like, I know you want to use your phone, I know it's easier, but there's actually something like, again, right brain, left brain about, I'm right-handed, but writing it out, just there's something about that will shift that neural connection in your brain, Yeah,
that is amazing. I need to get back into journal. There's all these things, I feel like I'm doing 1,001 things, and I'm very happy that I started the podcast again. But I feel like the world was in upheaval after having, not the world, but also the world, but everything was in upheaval once you have a kid, because you're trying to get your schedule back and figure things out. And I feel like I'm just getting back into it. And I think one of the things I really have to get back into is journaling. One of our previous episodes, we talked to a death doula who was discussing writing letters to your children to let them know how you feel about them, because that is something that a lot of people don't think about. And it's a hole that is sometimes left in the heart of the child after the parent passes on, just thinking about like, what did mom or dad actually think of me? You hear it all the time or whatever, or maybe you don't talk as much, they don't express their feelings, but one thing that can really help someone move on and move forward in the world is having like kind of that last thought. And one way to do that is by writing with a beautiful pen. We should reach out to Big Idea Design and be like, hey, we loved your pens and we featured them on the episode. They're amazing pens.
I would love that. That would just excite my soul.
You
I
know
love
what else you should do? You should reach out to them and partner with them for your retreat and say, hey, I want to give out your pens as a gift to all my attendees. Is there something that you can do on the price for like a bulk order? And then you'll score yourself some free pens.
I would love that because I really do include journaling in every single retreat. I just think it's so important for.
Listen, if you're including journaling and then you're giving out this amazing pen from Big Idea Design, I feel like that is like price of admission. Like that pen and that journal, when someone's like, oh, this price, that I have to pay for something, when they leave the retreat, having that in hand is like, oh my goodness, this pen is almost worth like the price of admission. This pen is so smooth. It's so amazing.
Yeah.
But of course, they get to spend time with the lovely Chereen Gamal, which, also is worth the price of admission. Listen, This is amazing. Can you tell people where they can find you, where they can look up, where they can find tickets and access to this amazing retreat, and where they can follow you if they wanted to get some counseling or do some yoga with you?
Yeah. So you can check out oaktreecw.com. That's the website. You can, read more about mental health, what I do, the retreats therapy, and the trauma-informed yoga. For the retreat, I do have a code out right now. It's GM10. That'll get you $150 off of the Costa Rica retreat, which is coming up in October 29th. So right up at the end of October there, so you still have time. And then, follow me on IG, OaktreeCW. Go to the website, Facebook. If you're into Facebook, again, OaktreeCW. And I'd love to chat with anybody. I'd love to see you at the retreats. With my retreats, honestly, some people really have a concept of what a retreat is, but I always say just come and it'll change the way you travel. It's really a better way to vacation,
Yeah. And it'll also help because
there's anything. You're not gonna. Yeah. Somebody was asking me the other day if we're going to like shanty the whole time. And I was like, no, we don't do that in my retreats. There are some retreats specifically designed for that if you're into it. But, on mine, it's just more, again, really resetting your soul.
What's shanty? My listeners may not know what any of this yoga stuff is.
Yeah, you're right.
Shanty.
So that's kirtan. It's like chanting. There's like different elements of yoga where people like to get into like, chanting and stuff like that. I don't know if you development thing, but we don't do that in my retreats. So yeah.
I don't know if you knew this, but before I go on stage for larger shows, I do a meditation, 5 minutes, and then I do a 3-minute om, which is a chant that you do to. I feel like it connects and it helps power my voice through the universe, or it connects my voice to the universe. And I feel like I can sense what type of show I'm going to have by the quality of om before the show.
Wow. Can you really?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, oming we've done when I've led meditations in a cave.
Oh, wow.
But other than that, we don't do any chanting kind of stuff. But the oming can definitely be beneficial. The oming, again, drawing it back to the kids, we could do stuff like that. And that could be more like, we're doing whale breath, like let's hold the breath in and we start making like a noise, something about like that sound, that noise can definitely, calm, the central nervous system. Yeah.
And connect. I think that's the biggest thing. Connect us to the universe and the world at large. And I think that's what I'm trying to tap in when I do the om. And I think that's what people tap into when they do like that. When they do the om, I think when I was in teacher training, that's what they talked about. Like, oming was a way of chanting and connecting and have the universe pass through you because it's the sound of the universe, which is interesting, right?
It is.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything left to say. We went over it all. We talked about yoga, doing yoga with the babies, the poses with the babies and the toddlers. We got into the trauma stuff. We nerded out about pens, which was amazing. I could keep talking about pens forever.
So good,
right? And I need to start writing because I do.
There's those ones with the colors where you push down the ones. Those ones never have a good write, but I like that there's different colors.
Yeah, it's because it's all in one. It's like trying to do too much. You know what I mean?
But
It's like
And
when,
then the
you know what it
purple
is?
is never really purple. I could talk about the pens for a while.
You know what it is? It's like when there's like a drink or like a food or something that's really, really amazing, and then they try to do it in all types of different flavors, and you're like, just stick to the original. The original was great. You don't have to spice it up with all these different flavors that don't work. That's what the whole try pen thing. But you know what? I always liked them because the cute girls always used to have the little the multicolor pens.
Because they want the pink.
Yeah, and so did I. Hey,
they want the different colors.
Yeah, this has been an amazing episode. It was really fun. It ran the gamut. We really got into yoga stuff. Please check out Chereen Gamal at oaktreecw.com, as well as on all her socials. I'm the Blerd Dad, and I don't think there's anything left for me to say in this episode except for Blerd Dad out.